What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the brand new Battlefield game, I feel like every single time a new playtest drops for this thing, there's always at least one, controversial opinion that is very, very spicy. Now, of course, I think the overall community is actually kind of pleased with the direction that this game is pointing towards. Don't get me wrong, although there are some things that we have to criticize, I think the general, idea of how this is looking is pretty solid. Again, until we get our hands on and try for ourselves, we can't really critique it completely, but based off of the gameplay, I think we can all say, at least it looks better than 2042. But in each playtest, there is, like I said, something very controversial. The first playtest, obviously, was the support class shakeup, where the support class is now going to be a mix of medic and also, support with ammunition, which is going to be quite interesting, but again, it kind of sparked some feist within the community. And here we are in the second playtest, and let me tell you guys something. You all thought the first controversial take was a rough one in the first playtest. You guys are going to be really getting feisty down in the comments on this one, and I'm very excited to see what everybody's stance is on how this is going to be handled within the brand new Battlefield game. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this take is going to be quite spicy here, but I'm going to try to cover both sides of the story here on this one, because at the end of the day, I still believe there is some good and bad to be said here. But for those who don't know, apparently, from what I've seen and many others have seen, the Assault class within the brand new Battlefield experience is going to be able to run 2 primaries based off of a perk. Now, again, we've already discussed these perks in the past, but apparently there is going to be a perk within this game that will allow you to basically run overkill like you could in Call of Duty, allowing an Assault player to run pretty much whatever they want. Now, I've heard from a lot of people that this game is going to be a class/weapon-specific type of game, meaning that every class is going to have a set lineup of weapons, whether Assault is AR, medics, LMGs, engineers, SMGs, recon snipers, so on and so forth. That's what I'm hearing from other people, but so far, in this current playtest, you can use whatever the heck you want. An Assault player can use ARs, SMG, snipers, shotguns. It doesn't matter. It's basically like 2042. Now, this might change later down the road when the game launches. We have no clue just yet. But in its current state, from what I'm guessing here, you can run 2 primaries. So an Assault player can pull out whatever the heck they want. An AR, SMG, AR sniper combo, SMG shotties, SMG sniper. Whatever you're really feeling like, you are allowed to have 2 primaries playing as an Assault class within the brand new Battlefield experience. And again, this might change. So if it does change later down the road, it won't be, being able to run an Assault rifle sniper, but you'll be able to run AR. So instead of having to have an AR and pistol only, you can actually carry 2 Assault rifles and a pistol as an Assault class if you choose to use this perk here. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys. This is just my personal opinion here. Again, I can see both sides, and I'm going to cover both sides, but in my personal opinion, I'm not too big of a fan of this. I gotta be real with you guys. This screams a little too much Call of Duty to me personally within Battlefield. And I know this isn't going to dictate the vibes of the brand new Battlefield game, but it still just rubs off in the wrong direction. And I'm not really liking how this is sounding right now. Being able to run multiple different weapons on a class, that just sounds like it's going to be, well, to me personally, the pub stomping class. And in all reality, every single time I hear something about the Assault class within the brand new Battlefield game, it just kind of makes me think, oh, this is the COD player class. It's no longer the Assault class having a meaning like it used to back in the day. It's more so as the class that COD players go to when they're trying to get used to the game. Kind of like how Overwatch has, Soldier, for example. You know what I'm saying? That's usually where COD players always go to if they're trying to get used to the Overwatch vibes before they go to a more difficult character. That's kind of what I think of when I think of the Assault class now, When it comes to Battlefield, the classes always had set roles. When you picked a class, you were supposed to do something, you know what I'm saying? And although I get it, the Assault class is supposed to be storming the objective, I get it, it makes sense, but let's be real. Isn't that what all the classes do? I mean, support, medics, recon, everybody's trying to push up and, be on the objective and be useful. I understand Assault's, supposed to be that plus some, but like, think back to the past. Assault has always had a designated role, whether they were supposed to be the medic, or they were supposed to be the ones hunting down the tanks. When you played Assault, you were doing something, but as we get closer and closer to modern day Battlefield, it's almost like I said, the Assault role is just a glorified Call of Duty introduction into Battlefield. It's like, okay, you don't want to play any roles, you don't want to help out your squad in any way, shape, or form, play Assault and frag out. I mean, I do it all the time in Battlefield 2042. What other role is there for me to do in, Battlefield 2042 as an Assault? I mean, I guess, slap C5 on tanks and stuff like that, but I still leave it up to the engineers. I just go ahead and frag out. I mean, that's literally the main definition of an Assault player nowadays. I don't know. To me personally, I think that they're pushing for that even harder when it comes to this perk, allowing Assault to double up on weapons, regardless, like I said, if they decide to keep it how it is now, where you can use whatever weapon you want per class, or if later on they decide to make it, class-specific weapons, whatever they decide, I still think it's a bit overwhelming to allow the Assault class to have so much power. But at the same exact time, I can understand the other side of the story here. Again, Assault is supposed to be pushing OBJs, support's supposed to be giving meds and ammunition. Engineers are going to be taking out vehicles while also repairing their vehicles. And Recon is going to be there to go ahead and, spot enemies and give, support with sniper rifles. I get it, that's great and all. And I understand that's the vision they have for this game. And giving the Assault class 2 primaries, if you do decide to choose this perk, is definitely going to be helpful. Again, coming from I'm not going to lie, I am sweaty when it comes to a lot of these FPS games. I like to get high kill games and stuff like that. It's enjoyable. When it comes to giving me double the weaponry, you best believe I'm going to take advantage of that. If that's going to be something granted to me, I'm going to use that because, once again, that will indeed help me push up to objectives. Why switch over to my secondary pistol when I could pull out another assault rifle with another fat mag and keep mowing down enemies like I never even ran out of ammunition, That is definitely going to be something that will allow the Assault class to be a true, new vision of an Assault class. A class that is going to be able to be there, push up, grab OBJs, and be the front line. But I don't know, man. That's basically the only positive I can think of. I gave it like a minute or two of positives and like 5+ minutes already of negatives because I genuinely can't think of anything else positive to say besides, giving Assault class 2 primaries is indeed going to make them much more of an aggressive class. I agree with that statement, but the inner Battlefield fan of me is screaming like, no, please. Give this Assault class a different role at this point, man, because it really is, in my opinion, becoming the COD class. Like I said, dating all the way back to some of the best classic Battlefield games, every class has served a purpose. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I can frag out with any class there is. Anybody can frag out with any class. I've seen people frag out with LMGs. I've seen people frag out with SMGs, being medics. I've seen people frag out as Assault players, as recons, topping the leaderboard sometimes. It's not impossible. I get that their vision is to make the Assault class the fraggers, but the fraggers are just the individuals themselves. So when I see them push with this vision, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, why? People have always been able to frag out. Why are we taking this class and calling it the frag class, when in reality, all the classes are capable of that? It's just, in my opinion, it just seems like they're taking away the role of Assault. And again, making it the introduction class for newcomers to come in and be able to frag out and not worry about anything. It makes me think we're going to have a game full of people not playing with the squad. Just a bunch of randoms running around as Assault players just because they get extra ammunition and extra guns. And it, better suits their playstyle because they don't want to learn how to actually play a match of Battlefield just yet. I don't know. It could go both ways. This could be absolutely amazing, or it can completely backfire in their faces. Until we try it out, we'll never be able to know. All we can do is just speculate here. But I do want to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Do you think it's a good idea to introduce a perk into this game for the Assault class to allow them to have 2 different primaries? And again, think about this. If this game doesn't require you to have class-specific weapons, that means you could use whatever you want. Meaning that even more people are going to be enticed to run Assault, because why wouldn't someone want to run an AR sniper, an SMG sniper, have the best of all worlds? Long range, close range, medium range, all of the above. You'll never be in a gunfight where you're ever at, a disadvantage, and you'll never have to actually think, about how you can navigate or work around the map to better favor your class setup. You'll always be able to engage with absolutely every enemy that presents themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget subscribing to that bell. I post daily here at 8 morning Eastern time. And of course, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.